What are the dangers of going to automotive mechanic shops? Number one, many shop workers over torque the wheel lug nuts. If you get a flat tire and you can't loosen the lug nuts, you are in trouble. Yes, you might have some type of roadside assistance like AAA or Allstate, but many times they don't usually arrive for 30 minutes or more. And if you're in the middle of nowhere late at night, roadside assistance may take longer, if at all. All this danger and stress because a shop worker over torqued the lug nuts. And you cannot replace a flat tire with a spare. And if you are in one of those unsafe areas when this happens, your life and the lives of your companions are put in jeopardy. Number two, hazardous chemicals can cause harm. Customers become exposed to the many toxic chemicals that are in shops. Many of these chemicals are also highly flammable, so if there's an explosion, your vehicle is likely to be harmed. I've worked in a shop before, and wow, all these chemicals and oil were in one area, and it looks like it's about to explode. If a fire department showed up in that place would have totally shut down. See, sadly, there's a lot of mechanic shops like that, and they're putting customers in danger. Customers are inhaling all that chemical stuff, and at the same time, their cars being on the lift. I mean, if something explodes in that area and the customer's vehicle explodes, I mean, who's gonna pay for their cars? Does that shop have enough money to reimburse or pay for the insurance? Do they have enough insurance to reimburse the cost of that vehicle and the stress of not having a vehicle? Number three, many shops will add extra charges to make money from you. And many times they may not even do the job nor do it properly. You have seen this again and again. And that's probably why, for number one, shop workers over torque the wheel lug nuts, because they know that customers will not be able to do a DIY or do-it-yourself project on their cars because the lug nuts are too tight. And most customers, they probably don't have the air compressor machine to be able to loosen the lug nuts, so they have no choice but to go back to that car shop. So that car shop ends up making more money from the customer. But like I've said before, that could be very dangerous for the client, for the customer. Number four, the questionable shop manager. You know, a lot of these shops, sometimes it's not always the fault of the shop workers. They're maybe dealing with time pressures, angry managers, and unprofessional business practices. This negative work environment is likely to cause problems with mechanic labor done to your vehicle. I've worked in shops like that where you can feel a negative vibe, and the people don't look happy, and a lot of times that can project in their work and in the performance of fixing your vehicle. And you can just imagine workers saying, like, it's not my car anyways. Let the manager or owner of the shop deal with it and let them have the trouble. So those are the kind of things that you would notice with mechanic shops. It'd be nice if the mechanics can just have their own business. They don't have to deal with those angry managers or angry owners. But a lot of times these mechanics, they don't have the capital to start a business like that, so they just have to put up with it because they got to pay the bills. So number five, very popular trend in the industry, it's called pick apart. Many mechanics have learned this in mechanic schools while they're working on cars and trucks and vehicles. A lot of times, and since these are shop cars, they figure they can steal parts from those cars so they can use them at home, because a lot of times, when especially dealing with older cars, it's hard to find certain parts, especially those classic type restoration cars. A lot of the parts are hard to find, and even if they are able to find those parts, most likely the stores would put a lot of overhead on those parts, meaning they would really hike up the price. So a lot of these mechanics, they figured instead of paying a high price on a hard to find part, and these shop cars, nobody's going to use them anyway, so we might as well take the part. The school's not going to know. And the sad thing about this behavior is it carries on a lot of times into automotive mechanic shops. They figured the customers won't ever know, and a lot of times it's just one piece of part that's not going to put the client in danger, in theory. But see, that's, first of all, that's bad business practice. In a lot of these mechanic shops, they don't allow customers or clients to watch the mechanics do labor on their vehicles, or they just kind of look down upon it. It's kind of like a unspoken law that, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Customers are not supposed to be there at the shop watching the mechanics because it's considered rude. So they're just supposed to stay in this area, a lounge area, not ever knowing what's being done to their vehicle. If the job is really being done, B, if the job is being properly done, and C, if the vehicle is being kept clean and protected from scratches or any kind of damages. And many mechanics have seen this time and time again. A lot of those shops, they don't have cameras. The customers have no way of knowing what's really going on with their vehicles. Me personally, I wouldn't want anybody touching my vehicle unless I get to watch what's being done, because it's that simple logic. If people work on cars that's not their own, many times they will not treat it with respect as they would respect their own property or vehicle. And it's unfair for the customers and clients to not be able to watch what's being done to their vehicle. I mean, that's their property. A lot of these clients have paid big money for their vehicles. They spend a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money going to these shops. Mechanic shops are definitely good places to get your vehicle fixed, especially if it's an engine problem, transmission problem, or something that requires a lot of heavy equipment, like that heavy lift you see in mechanic shops. But in a lot of the repairs, like tires or brakes or oil changes, mechanic shops are not really the best place to have your vehicle. It's probably a wiser idea to go to a freelance mechanic because A, you save a lot of money. They don't need to pay the freelance technicians. They don't have to pay for a building. They don't have to pay for payroll. They're just mobile, freelance. B, you as the customer and client, you can watch the freelance technician work on your vehicle. You can make sure if they're really doing their job. C, you can ask questions. You don't have to be hiding in the lounge or in a wait area. You can ask questions from the automotive technician. Questions like, okay, what's being done? What can I do? This creates a dialogue between the technician and the customer. The customer becomes more knowledgeable, and so they have an idea of what to get fixed next. So it's a win-win situation. These are just some thoughts and ideas about the dangers of automotive mechanic shops and the advantages of hiring a freelance automotive technician.